Alright guys, so we're back with a more class-focused guide. So this is going to be for the Druid. We're going to look at the professions that you want as a Druid, because I get asked this on every stream. And I don't mean specifically Druids, and I stream over on Twitch, by the way. Scottejaye87, links in the description. So it's always a different class, or not always, but most of the time. People coming in and saying, look, I'm an elemental shaman, what profession should I be? I'm a boomkin, what profession should I be? So I'm going to go over the professions for each class. I might consolidate the sort of caster DPS ones into one video. We'll see how we get on with these. But basically, we're going to look at what professions you'll want for PvE and why, what professions you'll want for PvP and why. Because basically, as I said, on every stream, it normally goes something like this. Breathe, focus, keep it simple. No doubt. So I'm a Resto Druid, right? Level working. Oh, okay. I'm actually a Warlock, man. Oh, no. Level working. So rather than just saying level working for every class, we're going to be a bit more creative. I mean, the majority of them, when we're talking about PvE, are going to be level working, unfortunately. But we will take into consideration what group you're likely to be in a certain comp. You know, in a 25-man comp, you can more or less guarantee the melee are going to be together, the ranged are going to be together, you know, and then where a prop paladin will sit normally in the healer group. Does the healer group need the haste from drums? I would say it's going to help, so probably yes, but it's less essential than in the DPS groups. That's all I'm going to say. But let's get over to the casting couch and let's have a look at professions for Druids in TBC. All right, before we get any further, make sure you like and subscribe. Should have mentioned that at the start, really. Obviously, if you want more TBC content, there's going to be loads coming, loads more videos like this, loads of everything, basically. Oh, just nearly knocked the table over. I'm trying to look at the camera more as well, because in this position, the camera's so high, and someone told me off in the comments that I wasn't looking at the camera enough. So I'm like, giving you a deadly stare. But yeah, as I say, subscribe. We've got over 6k now, so thank you guys for all your support. Thank you as well to you guys that have joined the channel as members. Obviously, everything that, you know, everything supporting me helps the channel grow, keeps me in front of the PC, putting more content out. So make sure you join the channel and become a member if you've not already. You do need to do it on a desktop, by the way. If you're looking on your phone, you won't see the join button. Just thought I'd put that out there. But let's get into it. Right, okay, on the comfy casting couch. Anyway, that's what they call it on the stream. I don't know why. Well, I do know why. But let's look at tank first. So if you want to be a tank druid, odds are you're going to be DPSing at some point as well. So you could end up in two possible groups. Odds are, even as a feral, even if you're a tank who DPSs sometimes, or if you're a DPS who tanks sometimes, either way around, whichever one you do, sort of, you're going to spend probably 80% of your time doing one, 20% of the other, depending on your raid comp, depends on how much you're going to spend doing one or the other, obviously. But you'll probably be with like the BM hunters in a group, for example. That's where our feral's going to sit, whether it's the feral, whether he's DPSing or tanking, doesn't matter. He'll sit with a Resto Shaman and 3 BM hunters. So you're going to want level working. Obviously, that goes without saying. You're a lever user, though, so, you know, a lever wearer, so you can make use of it. So even if you're tank main spec, you can now, with level working, make your Cleft Tooth set, which is obviously very nice. You're going to want this early on anyway. You can make the Primal Strike set for Kitty, or just when you're out farming in general, which obviously is very nice. The main reason you're doing it, obviously, is for drums. So you're going to be able to bring drums to your group, which, yeah, for the haste, which we've spoke about drums hundreds and hundreds of times. If you don't know about the intricacies of level working, I've done a profession guide for each one, so check that out on the channel. So level working's kind of a no-brainer. It's the next one that's quite difficult, and you've got a choice to make. I'll tell you what I would do. So I would be enchanting. Now, I'd be enchanting because you're going to get the stats, 4 stats on both rings. So you're going to get 8 stamina, 8 agility, 8 strength. We're not really bothered about the int spirit. You know, it's nice, but, you know, 8 strength, so you're going to get big attack power, 8 agility, so you're going to get some armor, you know, some dodge, some attack power, some crit, and then obviously the 8 stamina, which is what we're really after, you know, for obviously the extra health. Now, people will say dual crafting. Now, dual crafting is very good, but the gems don't get added until 2.2, and you can only use 1 in 2.2 as well, or 1 of each, because they're unique equipped. And so there's the 18 stamina gem, which is really nice, but later on in the expansion, you'll start to get 15 stamina gems. You can even get 15 stamina gem from a fishing daily outside Terracar. But that's not till like 2.4. But you know what I'm saying. You can get nearly as good as the epic dual crafting gems anyway. It's worth going dual crafting. Dual crafting's a fun profession, but if we're going at 2.0, you're going to be waiting, several months before you can even get any sort of personal bonuses from dual crafting. Yes, you'll be able to run around mining on your alt and prospect and make some gold, flipping gems, or, buying the gems uncut, cutting them, selling them. Yeah, there's a lot you can do with dual crafting that makes it really profitable, but you can do exactly the same with enchanting. You can make big profit in enchanting, and especially if you're the tank, which, we're talking specifically tank druid really at the moment anyway, you're going to be in every group, your 10 mans, your 25 mans in your guild, so you'll probably not have much of a problem being the guild enchanter, getting mongoose first. You can make some good gold from that. When you're just out farming, you can DE your own stuff, so it's got these added benefits outside of just the 4 stats to both rings, but it's an instant bonus. You're going to get the reward from it instantly. As soon as you get your, enchanting to the point where you can buy the stats enchant, now you're not having to wait for a patch, is what I'm trying to say. You've not got to wait for the enchants to open up or anything like that. You get it from the word go. It's useful all the way through the expansion. Then the other option, obviously, which is a very solid option, is engineering. Now, engineering, as you know, the main reason you go engineering as a tank is for the goblin rocket launchers, the 2 stamina trinkets. So you can use, obviously it's 1 stamina trinket, but you can use 2 of them, and it's 45 stamina. Massive amount of stamina. It's great, don't get me wrong. But you can ultimately fill those spots with other trinkets. So, you can get a stamina trinket from being exalted with Keepers of Time. You can get the Underbog Heroic trinket, which, now both of these trinkets have got useful effects as well. Yeah, don't get me wrong, you can pull with the rocket launcher. You can't do it in bear form. You'd have to pull out of bear form, then go in bear, and then obviously you get a little bit of rage if you've got Furor as well. So, you can see that being quite nice, but it's not essential because Feral's got very good burst threat anyway. So it's not like you need it. And you can pull with Fairy Fire. It's not as if you're struggling for a ranged pull. Yeah, I mean, you could pull with Moonfire if you wanted to. You've got that ranged pull ability anyway. So the trinket, you're really only using it for the 45 stamina, which is massive. But as I say, you can get 27 just from Exalted with Keepers of Time, and it gives resilience. So now that's going to get in your crit immunity as well. So the other trinkets that you can use, yes, they've got slightly less stamina, but they actually serve more of a purpose than just raw health, basically. So that's the only, if you want a couple of really easy trinkets to get early on with massive stamina, then yeah, go engineering. I wouldn't go that purely just for the trinkets. Like, engineering is fun. You can teleport around, you can get bombs, grenades, gadgets, all of these things. We know engineering's a fun profession, so it's one that I've always been drawn to. I've got engineering on a RAF private server, TBC private server, on Classic, on 2 characters. I always go engineering. But when you really sit back and think about it, it's a short-term benefit. The 2 trinkets are just a short-term benefit, which can be replaced for something almost equal, or maybe even better. You might consider it better due to the extra effects you get from the other trinkets. But now you get these enchants on your rings if you was to go enchanting. So I think early on, engineering would be good paired with leather working, but if you're not bothered about that sort of instant power spike from a profession from those 2 trinkets, and you're happy to wait a little bit or farm a little bit to get nearly as good trinkets as they are, I would go enchanting, because that's going to be a bigger bonus. Because think about it, as engineering, when you replace both of those trinkets anyway, maybe you want more avoidance, so you replace one of them with Morrow's Lucky Pocket Watch, for example. And then maybe you want the trinket from Underbog Heroic. I'll just use that as an example because we've already spoke about it. Now, engineering's not really giving you any added bonus in raids at all. You've not got access to the head yet, probably, because that won't come in until 2.2. So you're sort of stuck a little bit. You've got a profession that's not really giving you any benefit, where you could be enchanting and have that 8 all stats all the way through the expansion. And if you was to do a bit of healing, or you was to go boomy or anything like that for a bit of off-spec fun, you've got the spell power enchants on your rings as well. So you're getting something for everything. And the same goes if you was planning on being sort of boomy off-spec. You don't necessarily have to go elemental level working to make the primal strike for cat form. I mean, it would be ridiculous not to, don't get me wrong. But if you was like, nope, I'm never going to DPS as cat, I'm only ever going to tank, you're wrong. But you could do that, So let's just do feral DPS. I'll leave PvP until last. So feral DPS, you obviously want level working. Exactly the same reasons we've already spoke about for tank. Then you've got some fairly good options. I mean, the weapon damage enchant could be extremely good in TBC, a classic TBC, depending on how it is. It's very good on private servers. Obviously, the stats is still very strong. I'm talking if you go enchanting, but you can put weapon damage on your rings as well, which for some reason scales ludicrously as a feral. Now, I'm hoping that's not a private server thing, so I don't want you to sort of hang your hat on what I'm saying at the moment, but it will still be good. You know, enchanting will still be good for that 8 all stats anyway, because, you know, you're getting, forget the stamina now, because we're feral DPS, we're just focusing on the strength and the agility, but that's a really good amount of attack power just coming from your ring enchants. I'd avoid dual crafting for the same reasons I said about tank. You're not going to have access to those gems straight away, probably. You know, I would imagine that's something that comes out with different phases. But if you did have access to them straight away, they're not that big anyway. They're not that big of a deal, honestly. And then you have got engineering. But now you're talking that's more fun. You're not getting any static benefits from it. So my advice for feral DPS would be exactly the same as tank. I would be going level working and enchanting, which is nice because it doesn't matter whether you are tanking or DPSing, you've still got the 2 best professions, in my opinion, that you could use. And then if we go on to Boomkin. So Boomy is... It's a difficult one, and I think it's really going to come down to how the server's tuned, and we know it's not going to be tuned very difficult. You know, it's going to probably be like classic WoW was, the first phases where all the bosses are absolutely face roll and they melt. And the reason it matters is because obviously tailoring is going to give you the most spell damage with your Starfire and your Moonfire, without a shadow of a doubt, and tailoring should be the one you go. But you also want to pair it with level working, obviously, because of drums. Mainly, but the tailoring set really lacks on primary stats, and Boomkins, Oomkins, you've heard of the terminology Oomkin, you know, they do struggle for mana. You know, I'm constantly popping mana pot basically off cooldown, because the majority of the time, especially in a 25 man, you won't be in the group with the Shadow Priest. You know, you're going to be in the group with the Warlocks, giving them the 5% crit, so you're not going to be getting that mana return from the Priest. So now, you know, you're relying on mana pots. If you've got such a small mana pool because you're using all the tailoring gear, you could start to come into mana problems. That's why, actually, the level working set is going to have less spell power, but it's got more primary stats. You can use it for healing as well. It's not a min-max set. It's very much a longevity set. So my advice would be tailoring and level working, and I would craft the tailoring set and the level working set and swap it about. You know, if I was struggling for mana, I'd probably use the level working set. But I am talking very early on, because even the level working set will get replaced. But the tailoring set won't. You know, the tailoring set, as far as damage goes, that's not going to get replaced for quite a while. I mean, your other options here are, if you didn't want to go tailoring and you didn't want to be making the tailoring sets, then again, enchanting, you're going to get the spell power enchants on your rings, which is very nice. Outside of that, I personally don't see the use of any of the other professions where you're going to get much of a gain. I should have probably mentioned when we was talking about feral DPS is the alchemist trinket. Now, this gets asked a lot. Obviously, yes, you will be power shifting very frequently in TBC as a feral DPS. Do you need that alchemist trinket? It gets really good when Shattered Sun gets released, because then it's got attack power on rather than the all stats. But it's nice, you know, if you're struggling with your power shifting, then the extra 40% from your mana pot is nice. Plus you're getting all those stats, so you're getting some attack power, some crit, some stam, intellect and spirit, which are still going to help with power shifting. Obviously you get a lot of intellect on your tier gear, even as feral DPS. So it can be useful. I personally wouldn't recommend it. I think if you're power shifting correctly and you've got the 2-piece tier 4, which I'll put on screen just so you can see what bonus I'm talking about, you're getting a lot of sporadic energy return. So you will find once you've got your 2-piece tier 4, you are power shifting less anyway. So I would still definitely go enchanting level working for feral. Sorry, I know we went backwards a little bit there, but Resto Druid's a little bit different, which, yay, which is nice, because I'm just saying the same professions over and over again at the moment. So for Resto, you're going to want to go tailoring, because the Primal Mooncloth set is just immense. You know, lots of plus healing, lots of mana per 5. Really nice set. So, yeah, you're absolutely going to want that. Then, really, the second profession, your odds are, if you've got a similar comp to what we're going to run, you know, your Resto Druid's going to be sort of in group 5, or whatever group you put them in, but they're going to be in there with like an Affliction Lock, I don't know, the IDS Priest, the Prot Paladin, you know, the classes that, alright, they could make use of the drums if you've got them, but I wouldn't say it's as essential as like your warlock group, your boomy and warlock group, you know, your hunter group, your melee group. They're more essential for drums. I would say this group where you've got your affliction lock and stuff like that, and you know, your IDS priest, your resto druid, your prop paladin, this is the one where you could probably be a bit more flexible. Talk to your raid leader or your guild master or the officers, whatever, to make sure they're all right with it. But this is the group that I would say is not level working is non-essential. So here as a druid, because you're going tailoring for the set anyway, I would probably pick up, you guessed it, yeah, enchanting. Because, you know, the enchanting ring enchants, they are just that good. I mean, if you plan on doing some PvP, enchanting, as you're going to find out, is very good. It's just, enchanting is just a strong profession across the board just for those extra stats. You know, it's fairly simple, but you're going to find that druids, and I would say maybe shamans, there's only a couple of classes that can really make use of getting enchanting. So druids, you're very lucky that you can get enchanting within every one of your specs quite easily. As I say, resto druid, you will need to check to make sure that you don't need level working in your group, because some guilds will enforce it. If you're one of these sort of top 200 in the world guilds, the majority of your raid will be level working. So if you haven't got it and you should have it, you might get benched. If you speak to your raid, you might not need it, in which case you could go tailoring, enchanting. If you can't do tailoring, enchanting, and you've got to go level working, then you're obviously still going to go tailoring. It's going to be enchanting that you drop. So, I mean, that's a PvE. Like, broadly, that's PvE. PvP, for all specs, is actually very easy. You're going to go enchanting, jewel crafting. Now, enchanting, obviously, same as everything I've mentioned already, it's for those stats on the rings. You're not going to get those stats anywhere else. If you've got an equally, I hate saying this, an equally geared, equally skilled warrior versus warrior, one's enchanting, one's not, the one who's enchanting is going to have more health, more attack power, more crit. You know, it's those stats. I know it seems minor, but you know, if you're min-maxing for PvP because you're going for Glad, you're going to want enchanting. And then jewel crafting, same goes for that. You're not going to have the big gems to begin with, probably, but you know, you will get them. So it's worth getting jewel crafting anyway, because now you're getting even more of a stats advantage over the other teams. Because if the other team hasn't got jewel crafting, they haven't got those big gems, you're now, again, if you've got enchanting, jewel crafting, and you're against someone who's blacksmithing, mining, you're going to have a lot more strength, agility, attack power, like all of this, because of both the jewel crafting gems and obviously the enchanting ring bonuses. There's not really anywhere any of the specs that I would recommend going anything other than enchanting and jewel crafting. And I'll be honest with you, even when it comes to the melee classes, which we will get into as we go through them, you've got to pick one or the other. You know, if you're one of these classes that's got to go blacksmithing for the weapon, then it's a tough choice between jewel crafting and enchanting. And I could see if we go in at 2.0 where the JC gems are not out, people will probably go enchanting up to 2.2, then drop enchanting and go JC in PvP, the ones that need to keep blacksmithing. Again, that's what I see happening, but you know. But that's it, really. I hope that sort of explained enough of what you want to be doing with professions on your druid. I'm going to be doing this for all classes, as I say. Might consolidate some of them, probably like Shadow Priest and Warlock I'll put together, etc. But if you watched all the way to the end and you enjoyed it, please give it a like. Make sure you subscribe for more TBC content, and obviously check me out over on Twitch, Scottejaye87, streaming pretty much every night, sometimes twice a day, actually, if I manage to get a YouTube video done in a timely fashion. And also, just a quick plug, so we're going to be streaming BlizzConline, myself and Metagoblin. We've still yet to arrange exactly what that's going to look like, but stay tuned for more info, and make sure you, as I say, check us out, because we'll be live on Twitch. Peace out.